Well, hello, my dear friends. Justyn Smith here with a Heart for Revival Ministries, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking play. I would like to introduce you to 2 Kings 3 with the topic entitled Being Proactive to Win. Being proactive to win. Now, from this title, you are going to understand right from the beginning that to be successful in a particular area of life, you're going to have to make a move. You're going to have to do something that shows you desire to come out successful. So in this particular story, we notice point one, they were proactive to seek the man of God. They were proactive to seek the man of God. Notice 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 11. But Jehoshaphat said, "Is there not here a prophet of the Lord, that we may inquire of the Lord by him?" And one of the king of Israel's servants said, "Here is Elisha, the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Elijah." Now, as we look at this particular verse, we want to understand, first of all, that this Elisha was near. Here is Elisha, the son of Shaphat, which poured water on the hands of Elijah. And what that simply means by pouring water on the hands of Elijah is Elisha was a good servant. He was faithful. He cared for his master. Now he is in the place or the stead of his master Elijah, and he is being used by God in phenomenal ways. But really, as these are being proactive to seek a man of God, one of them pops up and says, "Hey guys, there's one right here." So Elisha was near. The next thing I want you to see in verse 12 concerning how they were proactive to seek the man of God, they had the word with him. It says in verse 12, "And Jehoshaphat said, the word of the Lord is with him. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom went down to him." They're proactive in seeking the man of God because the man of God is near and because the man of God has the word of the Lord with him. Therefore, they understand this is a good prophet to seek after. This is somebody that we can question. This is someone that knows the will and the way of the Lord. Let's see what he would do in this situation, which leads us to verse 15. "But now bring me a minstrel." And it came to pass, when the minstrel played, that the hand of the Lord came upon him. So this is referring to how Elisha is receiving wisdom from the Lord. He's receiving the help by the way of a minstrel playing before him. And then verse 16, this would tell what to do to the king, Jehoshaphat, to the king of Edom, the king of Israel. They're going to know what to do because of the man of God who is full of the wisdom of the Lord, the word being with him, and he was near. This is what he says. He said, "Thus saith the Lord, make this valley full of ditches. For thus saith the Lord, ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water, that ye may drink, both ye and your cattle and your beasts. And this is but a light thing in the sight of the Lord. He will deliver the Moabites also into your hand, and ye shall smite every fenced city and every choice city, and shall fell every good tree, and stop all wells of water, and mar every good piece of land with stones." Now, I'm going to leave verse 19 up there because we're kind of far removed from this understanding of what Israel and Jehoshaphat and the king of Edom they're supposed to do. Okay, they're going to go in and they're going to wipe out the choice cities. But when they do that, they're also going to fell. That means they're going to chop down every good tree. Those good trees were important. And especially if we've grown up in the city, we've lost the understanding of how important a good tree is. The wells of water, have we lost the understanding of how important it is to be able to draw from the well and take water in? We're just so used to these things. And mar every good piece of land with stones. In some cases, there were wells that were by themselves. In other places, they had a well that would feed into others. I mean, either way, they are going to cut off the supply that their enemies relied on for everyday productive living. All of this is what God is allowing his people to do as they were proactive to, first of all, seek the man of God. He gave them wisdom in wartime. And if you caught the first part, the digging the ditches part, this is what they were supposed to do. They were going to receive water even though there would be no rain. I mean, this is the God of heaven providing for them when he's not providing for anybody else because of what he is up to on the behalf of getting the attention of the world. Then notice this point too, God was proactive in upholding his working. This is a big deal because our first point was how the kings, they were proactive in seeking the man of God. Now God is proactive in upholding his working. Verse 20 says this, "And it came to pass in the morning, when the meat offering was offered, that behold, there came water by the way of Edom, and the country was filled with water." This is God keeping his word. And just imagine if they would not have digged the wells, digged the holes in the earth to be able to contain the water that what God was going to provide for them. And on many occasions, we have read in the scriptures how people prepared as God told them to prepare, and they were well satisfied and well successful because they were obedient to God in the first place. And then we see those other places in the Bible where people were kind of half-hearted in their obedience. They didn't have full or whole obedience, and yet God allowed them, but they could have had so much more if they would have been wholeheartedly obedient. God kept his end of the word, and that's just who the God of heaven is. He is the keeping word God. He knows exactly how things are going to be, and he is going to fulfill things exactly how he says he will, which leads to a third point. The enemy will be proactive against you. So we've already looked at how being proactive to win is a real deal with the kings. Okay, they made that first step. God was proactive to uphold his working according to his word. And then now we see number 3, that the enemy will be proactive as it was proactive against Israel. Verse 21, "And when all the Moabites heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all that were able to put on armor and upward and stood in the border." Okay, they heard of what was taking place, and they are going to do their dead level best to make sure that they are not overcome, because that's what enemies do. Sometimes enemies go on the defense. Sometimes enemies go on the offense in the scriptures. But either way, the enemy is proactive. The enemy doesn't just sit aside and sees what's going to happen. Sometimes that's how we handle life in our complacent carelessness. We just sit back, que sera, sera, what will be, will be. And instead of being proactive, we just sit back and just let things happen. No. There is a need to be proactive. The question is, which side of the proactivity are you on? You can't be on God's side. You shouldn't be on the wicked's side. You should be on the righteous side. But notice the last point, number 4. Israel was proactive to do what the prophet said. Okay, so you have the kings. They're proactive to seek the man of God. Of course, they get a whole bunch of people together. They dig ditches, all of that stuff. And now we see at the end of this passage that Israel was proactive to do what the prophet said. In verse 25, "And they beat down the cities, and on every good piece of land cast every man his stone, and filled it. And they stopped all the wells of water, and felled all the good trees. Only in Kirhasreth left they stones thereof. Howbeit the slingers went about it, and smote it." Now in that verse we understand that you go back to the prior verses and read how God told them, this is what you're going to do, and I'll give you great victory. This is all you got to do. You got to be proactive. And so just imagine yourself as Israel when the Moabites had put on their armor. You've got a choice. You're going to either claim God, and the reason why you can is because you can look back and see that those ditches that were digged, they have water in them now. That is encouragement to understand that if God told me this is what I'm supposed to do next, to go fight this battle, that I know He's going to let me win this battle. I mean, look at how big our God is. Just imagine the confidence that these armies had as they went forward to tackle the Moabites, to fell their trees, to stop their wells. I mean, this is the hand of God at work in their life. As God was being proactive, they were being proactive as well, which leads us back to our title, Being Proactive to Win. And I wonder right now, who is sitting on the sideline doing nothing and just letting life happen? You need to be proactive to win. You need to make decisions to go forward, and you need a purpose for those. If I could take the camera and scroll it to my whiteboard in this room, you would see that there's plans on the whiteboard for the Through the Bible messages that we're delivering right now. And we've got tally marks, we've got check marks through the end of the year, and we're just trying to be a little proactive in these recordings. I mean, we kind of have to. I mean, with the busyness of a revival schedule and the travels across the nation, we must be able to look ahead and say, we've got to record today so we can publish these videos tomorrow. Otherwise, tomorrow is going to come and the videos won't be recorded. There's no way to have them published. You've got to be proactive to win. What area of your life do you struggle with the most? How about you start right there and say, this is the problem. This is what I need to do. Now I want to be successful in this area or over this area. So Lord, help me to be proactive to win. God will do His part. Step up and do yours. My dear friend, thank you so much for click and play. I do wish you a blessed day, and I trust that you'll join us on our next broadcast.